Through my lifetime association with the forest and the timbers, I probably have as much knowledge as anyone on the timber species that belong here. Much of it has been passed on to me by generations of people that have been here before. The Big Scrub was the largest lowland subtropical rainforest in the southern hemisphere. It exists here because of the volcanic soil which came from the Mount Warning volcano. It had a wealth of really good cabinet timbers, some of the best timbers in the world. High quality red cedar, rosewood, silver ash, black bean, and the early cabinet makers quickly recognised the quality of these timbers, in particular the red cedar. So it was really the cedar getters that opened up the area. So they would spend months and months in the forest cutting, and then the floods would come and take the logs down. Subsequently, land was opened up to settlers. They knew that there was good soil here, so they came into this area in search of good farmland. They had to clear land and make pasture. They saw the rainforest as an enemy. They had to clear something like 30 acres a year, otherwise they'd lost their settlers' rights. And now less than 1% of the Big Scrub remains. These farms were turned into dairy farms, which existed into the 1960s and 1970s. So really when the dairy farmers started leaving the land and the hobby farmers came into the area started to go back to weed, particularly camphor laurel. Camphor was first introduced on the North Coast as shade trees in schools and paddock trees for shade for cattle. It's moved out of its native environment in China and Japan into an area that it flourishes. The seed was rapidly dispersed by the pigeons. It moves into an area that may have some remnant rainforest trees, but the camphor forest quickly engulfs these rainforest trees. So very quickly, in less than a decade, you can have a paddock that was once grass turned into a camphor forest all over the North Coast.
You know, looking out over the forest when we first bought it, there were a lot of green trees, but it was very difficult for me to tell what was a camphor laurel tree imported in the 19th century and what was a native rainforest tree. And Tony clearly really had a passion for this whole process of regeneration of the rainforest. And I think as I talked to him, you know, I understood the extent to which the camphor laurels had really invaded this country and what the potential was to really recreate beautiful rainforest. Mary and I actually went and climbed Mount Warning. And there, the walk up through the rainforest is absolutely stunning. I mean, some really beautiful trees. So I think we visualized what it could be. And the thought of regenerating, you know, what was originally here as a native rainforest, I think really appealed to Mary and myself.